Hey guys, Jacob Gago here. I just hit 10,000 miles with my Model 3 Performance. Not again. Why are you all the way over there? Like, are you serious? All the way, come on, all the way. Legit. We've only done 6 months together, 10,000 miles, and you're already pissed. Like, come on. Don't embarrass me. Is the car worth it after 6 months and 10,000 miles? Let's find out. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and everything else in between. If you do decide to get a Tesla, you could use the referral link in the description or comments. It's gonna give you up to $2,000 off at the time of recording this video. A huge thank you to those who have already used my referral link. I have about 7 more left, so make sure to grab it before it runs out. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it and get started with the driving experience. So let's buckle up. Driving experience. Spoiler alert, it's still insane. Woo. I thought I was gonna be driving in insane mode 100% of the time, but that has not been the case at all. So for those who don't know, insane mode is essentially where you could get the 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, and it basically makes your Model 3 Performance an exotic car. I found that driving in insane mode made me feel actually pretty nauseous. So if you get car sick or some type of, I don't know, nausea off of crazy G-force, you're definitely gonna feel that. So 90% of the time, I'm actually driving in normal mode. And for the occasional times, like that 10% that I just want to have some fun, then I go insane. You know, it's still wild to me that I'm in a 2.9 second car. Like, technically speaking, you can literally race exotic cars with this car. And believe it or not, people have challenged me. And so obviously for those who know I'm in a Model 3 Performance because they saw maybe the ludicrous badge, they'll challenge you. And a lot of times you do actually win. Now, obviously you're more likely to win maybe on the starting line. Long run, maybe a lot of these exotic cars like the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris would catch up. But it's really cool to know that you're in a 2.9 second car. I do want to mention, now I have seen in a lot of threads, people kind of bagging on people with Ferraris and Lamborghinis, like why would you still get that? Why would you pay 6 figures instead of you could just get a car like the Model 3 Performance? Yes, the stats are true that this car is cheaper for almost the same type of performance. But those people are not buying the car just for the performance. It's the looks, it's the sound, and just how it makes you feel. This car doesn't turn heads, I'll just be fully honest. Now, those who do know about cars, maybe their heads would turn, but the layman's person, say your mom or your girlfriend that don't know much about cars, they're not gonna turn heads. They might actually think this is a regular base model Model 3. Yeah, no, this is still driving really well. I still really love this car. So in my last video, we drove through some canyons, and just to see the, you know, how the Tesla does when driving with the dynamics and hitting corners and whatnot. After 10,000 miles, I have to say, yeah, it's still just as great. All right, let's talk about efficiency while we're charging. Another big reason why I mainly drive in normal mode is because of efficiency. If you drive in sport mode, the battery does drain a little faster, and in track mode, you literally see the percentage dropping in real time. So I've had the car for about 6 months now and about 10,000 miles. In fact, I'm way past that. I'm really around 13,000 miles. So that means I'm really doing like 1,500 to 2,000 miles a month. So that means I'm really charging about 3 to 4 times a week, which honestly is pretty inconvenient considering that my current living condition does not have a charging station. So I do have to be going to an actual supercharger, or like now, just use like a third-party charger. So I would say, honestly, the 296 miles, they claim that it's 303. I think they did that as just a marketing gimmick, but I've never had that miles. Honestly, I feel like 296 miles, I think they could have gone to at least 350, 400. But of course, if you have a charging station at home, and that is something I'm looking to do when I move in the next couple months, I don't think this would be so much of an issue that I'm charging this much often. In terms of my charging habits, I really do charge all the way to 90%. Some people stop at 80, and I get it. That's really what's recommended by Tesla. But let's not forget, before the 80%, the recommendation was 90%. But honestly, when I think about it, I knew what I signed up for. I got a performance car, and just like every exotic car, the mileage is horrible. All right, so let's talk about some good things that I really like about the Model 3 Performance. Although I just talked about how, you know, charging sucks about 3 to 4 times a week, that's if I'm driving a lot. If I'm not driving a lot, of course, it could probably be maybe once or twice, minimum mainly twice. Even though the charging may suck for me, I am still grateful for the charging cost. It's still way better than buying a gas car. I don't even look at gas prices anymore. And the only time I go to gas stations is maybe to get a snack, or I just want to flex that I got a EV and they got to pay $100 for a full tank versus $28, $25, $30. Yeah, I like it. Obviously, I'm just kidding. Ooh, let's open these snacks. Ah, I needed this snack. I'm so hungry. You guys know how long these videos take? Just to shoot, edit, and everything, probably 8 hours. So please, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, to at least show me that, you know, some support, something, you know? All right, let's keep going. Another big thing is maintenance costs. I've literally had little to no maintenance costs. I think the most I've had in 6 months is probably washer fluid. I haven't had an air filter yet change, and tire rotation, I can't do that just because of the staggered wheels I have. And so if I did have that, that would be maybe the top 3 maintenance costs I've had. I did have some delivery issues, and for those who have been watching me for a while, I've made a video on that already, and you guys expressed that you agree that, you know, some things were unfair. But other than paying that, I think it was like $250, $300, I totally forgot how much it was. I've paid less than $500 to maintain this car. So let's do the math. I remember with my BMW, every 3,000 miles or 5,000 miles, depending on the kind of oil I got, I would have to pay for oil change. So let's go ahead and say the 3,000. So if I'm at 10,000 divided by 3,000, so that's about 3.33 times. And the oil changes at that time was around like $250. So I would have paid $833 for engine oil change. And I haven't had to do that at all. And then when it comes to gas, let's do the math. So about 10,000 miles is what we drove. And I think with my BMW, I got around 450 miles. So if we did that about 22.22 times, I would have filled up. It was about 30 miles per gallon. So we do 450 divided by 30. That's about 15, and then times 4.5. So $67.5 is what we would have been paying filling up. So we do times 22.22. So we would have paid $1,499.85, obviously all estimating. So let's add that 800 number we had. About 2332 is what I would have paid over these past 6 months. That is insane. Literally just saving switching to an EV. And I think this is why I'm with an EV, even though I say Teslas aren't luxury cars. To be honest, we know we're just paying for a computer, but I do it because of the supercharging network and also the actual cost savings. Obviously, there's a buy-in price, you got to buy the car, but in the long term, you will definitely be saving a lot more money. Speaking of the computer, well, that's another great thing of the Teslas. It's literally buying a computer. That's what we're mainly buying it for, and not so much of the shell. The shell is cool, but it's really the computer that we're paying for. And so the car just keeps getting better. Literally having the ability to upgrade features only enhances the car's ability and also should keep the value. So I already made a dedicated video on the mods, accessories, and upgrades that I think every Tesla owner should have. So I won't talk much about them here, but you can see I changed some interior parts to fit more of what I wanted. I actually do love white seats, but I decided to go with the black seats because I preferred how the perforated holes came out versus on the white seats. It was a little bit too obvious for me. Here and there, I do switch between the original steering wheel and the yoke by Pimp My EV. And in fact, I have a video coming soon with Pimp My EV on a special design yoke they're doing for me, as well as some other accessories that are unique. And I think you should definitely subscribe so you don't miss out. Now, of course, no car is perfect, not even the Model 3 Performance, and there has actually been some issues. So let's go ahead and talk about those issues. All right, guys, so let's talk about some of the issues with the car so far. So one of the things that I wish I got on time were rim savers. The time when I was ordering all the mods and accessories for the car, some reason rim savers were all out of stock everywhere. And unfortunately, some of my rims are pretty messed up. Now, I didn't do all of them. There was one time when I was sick and my dad drove us to the hospital, and on the way back, he hit a curb and it was loud. And yeah, the damage was not nice at all. Something that I really wish the car also had was a front camera. Like the Cybertruck has one, and I don't see why the Model 3 Performance does not have one, considering the Cybertrucks were kind of made a lot more sooner than the Model 3 Performance. So I felt like at a bare minimum, the front camera should have been there. Is it so much bugging me? You know, I want to say no, but it kind of is. Another thing I still get is the sound coming from my wheels. And this is something that I did mention on my earlier video when I picked up the car. Some of you guys reached out to say you hear the same thing for your own cars for the Model 3 Performance. And when you took off the, I guess, aero caps, it kind of made it better or all of a sudden gone. I never took mine off yet. I think I'm finally gonna do it. However, the sound is still there. Another thing that kind of sucks, but I've been through it before with my BMW 4 Series, was the back wheels are staggered, so I can't really do any rotation. And I do hear the tires kind of do wear out a lot faster. So far, it looks like my tires are doing pretty decent, but I could see that the tires can wear out faster depending on your driving habits. And I think that's another reason why I mainly drive in normal mode, just so I don't get crazy tire changes. And these tires are not cheap, guys. In fact, if any of you guys just feel so compelled and something just touches your spirit and you want to gift me something for Christmas other than hitting the like button, send me some tires. Send me one tire. Just think about it. If 4 people send me a tire each, it's a full set. So let's talk about some issues that I've had with the interior. I've said this many times, so Tesla really isn't so much of a luxury company. So unfortunately, I feel like there's some things inside the car that's kind of falling apart. Like it felt more like tighter. So more specifically speaking, I felt like there was more sound isolation in the car, where if the subs were playing in the car, like it didn't sound like something was rattling. Now it sounds like things are just like bolts and pieces are falling apart. And also I feel like there's some small wear and tear on some of like the pieces in there, say like the center console. It just kind of, you know, you could kind of tell like it wasn't proper parts, or maybe I should say luxury parts. So let me turn this around and I'll show you guys what proper actually looks like. Looks like that. That's another thing. When you see a Lamborghini passing by, you know it's a Lamborghini, and you could tell it's a luxury exotic car. With my car, on the other hand, unless you know about Tesla Model 3's performance, when it's passing by, somebody might just think I threw a nice rims on it, a nice lip, carbon fiber, and then maybe till they see the ludicrous badge, if they even know what that is, then they know I got a exotic car myself. But other than that, it does look like a standard Model 3. So I did have initial issues with the interior lights, that they were very dim during the daytime and you could barely see it. Software upgrades did eventually come. It's super bright now in the daytime. You shouldn't have a problem seeing your interior lighting inside. But the interior lighting isn't all that great. I still wish the foot lights was more matching the interior lighting. You literally just get a white light in there. And so I keep mine off during the nighttime, where you don't even see my foot lights, just because it does feel like out of place. Next thing is the bucket seats. I still don't feel like I'm fully comfortable with them, you know, because they're pretty hard on the edge where you put your arms there. It's not that great. However, I think I've gotten used to it, I have to say. But when I do get into another car that doesn't have bucket seats, sometimes I would miss the cushion feeling there. So I feel like this area right here, you're more likely to, you know, not to feel too comfortable with the Model 3 Performance. But honestly, it's not so much of a big deal, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Here's another one that I know was very controversial, was the stockless design. So the thing about that, honestly, I've said, you know, in my prior video that I really enjoyed having the stockless design, but I have to say there have been some instances where I wish the stock was there just because of emergency sake. Say I needed to reverse quickly or something, and I'm swiping and I missed the swipe, or let's say I know I got the swipe, but it didn't trigger. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. And I feel like for safety, the Stalks is going to be a lot much better. God forbid, but let's just say your screen turns off during an emergency, you now have to rely on the top part to press, reverse or change the gear from there. And that could take a second to even register. For safety's sakes, I will say Stalks are definitely better, but it's still not bad. I was still having issues with the new steering wheel, but I think a software update came out that fixed a lot of that where the buttons will get stuck. Again, it's not even buttons, it's just haptic feedback. So I think that's out the way. However, there are still times when I get confused. So I think I've kind of came down to the conclusion that all the more important things that you're more likely to use a lot more, it's gonna be on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, and the less common things you'll use will be on the right-hand side. So guys, after 10,000 miles, am I happy I got the Model 3 Performance? Absolutely. I have to say that there is no regrets. Despite some of the issues I mentioned, none of them are really deal breakers for me. And I could only imagine the future 2025, 2026 Model 3 Performances, if they ever do come out, whatever the refresh is, it's gonna be probably out of here. It's gonna have probably front cameras, probably 350 to 400 mile range, maybe even faster. I mean, it's gonna be a killer car. Don't forget, if you do decide to get the Model 3 Performance or any other Tesla models, you could get up to $2,000 off. It's gonna support the channel. And honestly, guys, thank you for those who have already used my referral code. I'm really, really, really grateful for you guys. If you wanna know which accessories I recommend for the Model 3 Performance or any other Tesla, make sure to click this video right here. And also, if you wanna know if this Model 3 Performance could do a road trip from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, you could also click this video down here. And with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.